right? I still wish I was here right now where my background is at.
Greece, yeah, yes.
You know, it'd be a different time zone though. I think it'd be a little in the morning. No, actually a little later. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm ready to see someplace like exotic
no, right?
again.
Exotic, different, and recording that place with the wind in the background.
Right.
Well, this is another episode of Frank's Unsolicited Advice. Today, I am joined with a friend of mine and business partner, Maryanne. Me and Maryanne met roughly about what, a year, 2 years ago.
About a year ago,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was through conversation, Zoom meetings, and stuff like that. And in that time frame, we became real good friends, and we actually help each other with our businesses. We're in the same line of work. And I'm gonna let her tell you about herself a little bit, because I don't want to do her injustice and miss an accolade or something. So, Maryanne, take it away.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Where does one start? Well, yeah, like Frank said, that we known each other in the business that we do. We're financial educators, consultants, do all good things finance. I have a background in financial services as well. So I've been doing it and working in banking for about, 13, 14 years. Also marketing, graphic design, model, mom. So I do a lot of different things. But yeah, so just also love to just kind of like give unsolicited advice. I consider myself a professional busybody. So I just, I get in the business and I give my opinion about things and really just like kind of like I consider myself a deep thinker. So I like to think about things outside of the box and, have great conversations. So happy to be here to share my insights and to be drinking. So I am currently drinking Crown and Coke.
Oh, I'm drinking Gentleman's Jack straight. I had to go back to what does me right. As we
Yes.
the other day had something had me feeling all kind of ways. But
Yes. Yeah.
we wanted to get on here and have an organic conversation about something that we discuss quite often when we discuss our business and in general support, right? When it comes down to it, that's really what it boils down to, is the support of people in our close circle. And we feel, based on our business and what we see in other things, that in certain communities, the support isn't the same. Is that fair?
That's totally fair. And I totally agree with that. And you posted something the other day just to kind of like gauge people's, interest because we were talking about it and you're like, you know what? I'm going to make a post and then just kind of see what people say. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's see. I'm very curious. So what was the response like?
Oh, the response was crazy. So my post was this. Why is it we are more inclined to do business with a stranger than with a friend? And yes, we were on the phone when I posted it because I said I was going to post it just to see. It was Thursday, and I wanted to get some traction, see it. And I want to be clear that when I wrote this post, it had nothing. It wasn't the only. Our business wasn't the only thing I was referring to. I'm
Right.
just in general, right? Like, I have three podcasts that I do, right? I have this one. I have Frank Presents the Play Call, and I have All Sides Podcast. And you would think that with the amount of people that I know and my other people that I record with know, that we should have multiple streams coming in, even if people just downloaded it and it's free, right? It doesn't cost people things, but you don't get that. I
Mhm.
have friends that do coins for the military or any kind of coins, really. Um, and they get traction from certain people, but you don't see it from everybody. I have friends that do shirts and embroidery and stuff like that. And I feel, in my opinion, if I'm gonna go get a shirt made by a stranger, before I go to that stranger, I'm gonna go to, if Maryanne does a shirt, I'm gonna say, hey Maryanne, listen, I want a few shirts made that say Frank's Unsolicited Advice, one that says Frank Presents the Play Call, one that says Offside, so I could wear them while I record. So instead of going to a business, I'd rather go to my friend first. That's
Right.
me. So to give you a few takeaways of what people said, I'm trying to find the good ones, right? Because a lot of people say a lot of different things. So one of my friends was depends on your business, and I asked them to elaborate more.
Mhm.
And she responded, if I'm not interested in what you're selling, then I'm not buying it, no matter who you are. I'll support though and see if others would want to. If you're selling houses and your friends have houses, then I'm not buying one because you're my friend, especially if it's a financial investment. If I'm not interested already, then I'm not doing it just because you're a friend.
Okay, cool.
So I said, valid. Okay, understandable. Good way,
Yeah.
right? If I'm a realtor, I don't expect
Valid.
my houses because I got one. If you have one, it's fine.
Right. Exactly.
Another friend of mine, she put friends want a discount and most friends don't respect the grind. I think that's very valid. Another friend, another guy that I know, he put you have more to lose with someone you are friends with as the relationships become inadvertently intertwined with the results. If someone doesn't want to do business with you, don't take it personal. It might mean they value your relationship more than the risk of jeopardizing it via an attempt of prospect.
That I don't really agree with. Like,
Hey,
I get
let's
it,
talk about
I
it.
understand it, I totally get it. However, it's just kind of like, why would the relationship go bad? Because really it's a matter of communication, right? And then a proper expectation being set.
Mhm,
So you, friend Frank, I'm telling you, I'm selling you this thing, right? Let's go back to the shirts. So you get these shirts, right?
mhm,
We do the commission, we do the art and all of that. I get the shirts printed, I print a few and like, do you like these? You're like, yes. Print the rest. Some of them may have a little bit, I don't know, let's say it's screen printing. So maybe some of them have the ink to where it bled, or, the screen is just a slightly, just off a little bit. So all the shirts aren't perfect.
mhm.
And then you come back and you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it would be. I've got I ordered 100 shirts, 10 of them are messed up. Wouldn't you come back to me? Because then it's business, right? And say, hey, 10 of these are messed up. Can you fix it? As opposed to sitting on it and being pissed off and saying she messed up my shirts and I'm never going to do business with her again.
I think that when we talk about that, that's why. See, that's my mom wrote something that, and I'll get down further online. I'm just going from certain quotes, certain quotes. I think that's where communication really comes in, right? And I
Right.
understand that sometimes things can strain a friendship, but then I would throw back and say, well, we really friends then, right? Because anything could strain a friendship. It doesn't have to be a business transaction. It could be a trip that we take, and I could show up late to the airport and miss my flight and throw the whole trip off, and now you're mad because I wasted your time, So it could be anything that can strain a friendship as far
You're
as
right.
anything. So I think that when it comes to being friends and us, you know, being transparent and being open with each other,
And
to
having good communication, like you were saying, it's like having a proper expectation set, like we're both on the same page about a certain thing, and then communicating going forward. Like you said, you could fall out about anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be business. So people using that as a reason to not do business with their friends is kind of a cop out because, like you said, what if we go on a trip? You could fall out over that, or whatever. It could be anything,
sort
but
of
really, the core and the basis of it is communication. So, what is it about? I would say in our community, because no other communities use that as a reason, they funnel their money to their friends, their family, and they keep it within their community. So, why don't we do that? And others support whether they need it or not.
mm-hmm, true. I had a friend of mine. Not going to put his name out because he might watch this, and I mean, he's going to know who it is anyways. He opened a policy for his child, his I think 2 year old kid,
Mhm.
and he wasn't paying much on it. And as he was getting ready to transition out the Navy, he felt that that was an expense he didn't need no more. So he canceled the policy. Obviously, it was not 2 years, so I get charged back, and
Right.
that hurt my pockets moving forward because that's negative points I had to make up. I
You want
didn't.
to tell people what a chargeback means?
Oh, so chargeback in our business is we get our commission up front 1 or 2 years, right? And
Right.
what that means is that our company pays us our full commission in advance. And then instead of it being on as you pay or 7 months in advance, and then it goes to as you pay. Well, that means that the client has to keep the policy or at least pay that much of that they paid up front. Maybe let's say if it's a year, pay that much up front or pay a whole year before they cancel so you don't get chargeback. So now, if let's say they paid me 500 commission and you cancel, they're gonna want that back, and they're gonna make my points negative. For every 1 point is $1. So then I'll be negative 500 points going into the next cycle. So now if I write a policy, that eats away from my commission based on the negative points. Did I explain it right? Did I do good?
Yes, but in a nutshell, and even simpler for the people that
Yeah.
that aren't in our business, essentially, we have to pay back whenever you cancel your policy prematurely. So not only do you lose money, we lose money. So nobody wants to lose, right? So just anyway, very
No, I'm
quickly,
glad you
we
pointed
have to
out
pay it back.
because based on some of these comments, then maybe me and him should have fell out. And when him and I did
Because
speak,
he didn't even call you, right?
no, and when him and I spoke about it, when I brought it up, or when I mentioned it, he said, "Damn, Franco, did I screw you over?" And I said, "Yeah, you did." And he's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
man, Frank." I said, "Look, man, it is what it is. I'm not gonna. Am I mad at you for it? No, I'm not mad at you for it. It is what it is. I maybe I didn't explain it properly, so I got to take that on the chin as the agent and say, hey, next time you should have kept it, or hey, pay a year up front. If you don't like it, then wait. So, um, but that's some of the things that based on some of these comments, me and him should have fell out. Or the friendship should have been fractured in some form. So
right.
to read a few more comments, Brandon Diggs, a guy that, and I put his name out there. He does real estate out here in Virginia, trying to work in the community. That's why I'm giving him a shout out. He wrote in quotes the first part, they don't believe what you're selling because it's you. And he says, people like the comfort of things remaining the same. More often than not, the people you come up with have the same motion they've always had, and your progress reminds them that, now this is in caps, they ain't moving. As a
Ooh,
business owner, push outside of your comfort zone and reach people that don't know you. Your people will arrive to your party. Welcome them with open arms when they arrive. He said they arrive to your party late. Welcome them, with open arms when they arrive. I thought that was so true, right? And I think the first part, because it's you. To for me, I think people see you. Oh, well, you was in the Navy, you was a senior chief, you was an AO. What do you know about this? So
right.
it's like, oh, it's you. It's not. And this could even be so much as when we set appointments with our friends, right, and family. Like
Mhm.
some people show up late to the appointment, and you're like, wait, would you do that to Nationwide? Would you do that to Fidelity? Would you do that to anybody else that's not us and is more formal? I would say,
Right.
feel about that quote that statement that he
I
put.
feel like that is very, very accurate. It's like it doesn't matter how, smart you are or how accomplished you are and things like
Mhm.
that. Sometimes, people that are closest to you know you for, years ago, how you all grew up together or whatever. And that's even mentioned in like, our trainings and stuff in our business. So to where it's just like that's why you got to bring somebody else in because maybe if you don't have this background, people aren't going to take you seriously because like, oh, you're on to a new thing or oh, weren't you just doing something else a couple of months ago? How do I know this is legit? Totally get and totally understand that. For me, it's a little bit different because like I said, I worked in like banking, worked with credit unions and things like that for like 14 years. So it's like, but I do know money.
Yeah.
So, but
And
yeah, but
yeah.
even I still, kind of get it a little bit. So it's, yeah, it's just, it's one of those things to where you do have to kind of like bring in somebody else to where you either get the leverage, that they talk about, or you just continue on and go, like he said, outside of your market, talk to people that you don't know, right? And then build from there. And then when people see that you're doing things, then they come back around. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing now? Tell me a little bit more about this.
And that's the thing, right? So somebody else wrote, so when I replied back, I said, I love all these responses, keep them coming, because I felt like it sparked the proper conversation, right? So a previous person, another person that previously commented, the one that said about if you have a house, if I own a house ready, I'm not gonna buy a house because you're a realtor. Um,
Right.
she says some of these answers are weird. When you make business plans, you don't factor for your friends buy-in. You do your business, and if they do, they do, and if they don't, they don't. If your product or service is interesting, then it'll speak for itself.
Well, I didn't really like that comment because it's like, well, especially when we're talking about what we talk about, it's like I do think about my friends and family first. That's the first ones I think about. And
Yeah.
if it's something good and it's something that I would buy into, then I would want the people closest to me to buy into as well. It's just like giving them a hot tip in the stock market. Or if I had the winning numbers to the lottery, wouldn't you want to know them?
It's like when Dogecoin was coming out,
Right.
buy it, buy it, buy it. Everybody was buying it. Every cousin was calling every cousin, everybody was buying it. And we see what Dogecoin is at. I have a hard time with that one, right? And the reason is because when we are entrepreneurs for that, to say the least, and we're all trying to start our business. And in our business, we have to be licensed, and it's good information. It might
Mhm.
not be for everybody, and you know what? It's not something that everybody might want to take advantage of, and I understand that. But part
Right.
of what we do is not to force you to do something. We want to educate you. So all we want is listen to us, take the information, and like she said in a previous comment, maybe somebody else will. And she gave me the time of day. So in all fairness, she did give me the time of day. She actually did have a policy, I think, with Transamerica before. So she knew, she was familiar.
Well, that's cool. But I mean,
Yeah.
just, talking about the comment itself, as far as like, not looking to friends and family and not expecting them to buy into it. It's not really the expectation, but it's more or less like, like you said, hear me out.
Mhm.
Because then there's some that just won't even want to listen,
Correct. No, they won't even give you time of day. So one of my other friends that I was stationed that I lived with when I was stationed up in New York, West Point, New York, he's in the army. He wrote and now he put friends in quotes. So he goes, because most friends only come around when they see a come up. Because most friends think your hard work means they benefit. Because most friends don't mind asking for credit, knowing Con Edison don't take IOUs. On the flip side, we don't mind taking advantage of a stranger. We'll try and make an extra profit off a stranger. A stranger will recommend your business to others not in your circle.
Yeah, I don't know what his definition of a friend is. It
So
seems a little convoluted to me. It's like, I
the
don't
thing
think I want you to
about
be
it
my
is,
friend, period. I
so
get what he's saying, but it's like, but would a friend do that?
some of them do though. You see, and this is let's go back to when
That's
we
not a
talk.
friend, though.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. So let's talk about when we remember how we talking about small businesses, right? And you go to the store, you model clothes, right?
Yes.
You got a person that does the clothing, let's say puts it together, has it in a boutique, and then you come and want to negotiate the price. Mind you, they're by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Friends, like I feel sometimes friends can do that to you, or people that are close to us. Let's use that word, close to you,
Mhm.
try to take advantage of certain stuff because it's you. It's not somebody else. Like we've said, when people want to go to Louis or they go to Gucci or they go somewhere, they don't negotiate prices. No.
Right. They go and pay whatever,
You
whatever.
pay
And
$1,000
then,
for one sock. You got to pay 2,000 to get the pair, and they'll
yes,
pay it just to say they got it on. You
they
know,
will pay it. Right.
but then they go to somebody else's store and be like, "Oh, I don't want to pay $30 for that shirt," not realizing that that owner, he's the overhead. He's probably not even breaking. He's probably not making a profit of the $30 that he's selling the shirt for. When you sit down and slice and dice everything between the production, the design, the fabric, then the store and everything else, you're losing money in a sense until you get known, right? So it's like I feel we don't support like that either, which goes back to my original statement about support. I had a friend of mine that we served together. He said friendship is important to me, so I'd rather not risk losing the relationship through a bad business experience.
And you're going in with the expectation that it's going to be a bad business experience. There's so many things wrong. Like, so we've got like the heckling and the price haggling. Okay. Don't do that. And then we've got, I don't want the business deal to go wrong. Okay. How can it go wrong? Like, again, goes back to the communication and proper expectations being set. So, I mean, to not do it because you don't want these things to happen. Okay, so how about support your friend, but then put proper boundaries and have the right communication so these things don't happen.
Correct. I agree.
And then also, if you are going to be dealing with somebody that you know is going to be shady, can we swear on here? Because
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So if you know somebody's gonna be fucking around, don't do business with them because you know they're gonna be fucking around. But if it's not somebody like that, why would you automatically think negatively?
Mm-hmm.
That's
No,
my
right.
question.
I'm with you on that. I think so. When me and Nikki, my wife, were talking about it, and I said, "Man, some of these comments will make me wonder: Do you really know who I am?"
That part, it's like, I mean, again, no, I mean, if you call this person your friend, then why wouldn't you do business with them? Why wouldn't you, have some kind of like tie to them? Why wouldn't you support them? Like, for example, I've got a story. I've got a friend that sells like cosmetics and things like that. I do not use these cosmetics, but she is my friend. So I bought these cosmetics to support said friend,
Mhm.
right? And I told her at the beginning, listen, I'm going to support you. However, I don't generally use these cosmetics. I have my own stuff that I use that work very well for my skin. But because you're my friend, I'm going to help you. Okay. But I'm not going to do this forever. So expectation was set. I'm
Yes.
not doing this forever, but I'm going to support you because you're my friend. Okay.
Mhm.
And so, and even was like, I will give people referrals. If they ask me who did my makeup, I'll be like, oh, I got it from this person, even though I knew it would be a lie. But
Yeah.
because she's my friend, I was going to support her in that. So, what is wrong with that? I communicated clearly. I don't normally do this, but I love you. You're my friend. I'm going to support you. And I'm going to send you some business if people ask. All right. So what's wrong with that? Doing it like that? Why don't people do that?
Nothing. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I think that when we've had this conversation, when you put the expectation on the table and people have a clear understanding of what we're doing, then it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a thing at the end. Now, I understand that some businesses, not necessarily ours, they could be a bad experience in the sense of like going into investment with someone, right?
Okay.
You know, like a friend of yours comes up and says, "Hey, man, I want to start this business. I need an investor. We this is and comes up with a plan. You know,
Hmm.
it's it enough where you feel like, oh, I can do it, and you do it, and then it turns out that it flops, or he didn't do his part, or the numbers didn't budge. You know, I could see that going a different way, right?
But
Or
that's where you got to be a smart investor too, because like money is money, right?
right,
Nobody wants to invest a whole lot of money into something to where it's just like, okay, this is going to hurt me in the long run. You need to be sure, because like with anybody else, business is business. All right. Friendship is friendship. You don't necessarily have to fall out. But then again, it also goes back to knowing who you're going to do business with. So
correct.
if you're saying I'm putting $100,000 on the line, I want to make sure this person knows what the hell they're doing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm not just gonna give it to any fucking idiot that's just gonna like, got a half-ass plan, doesn't really know, isn't disciplined. The person I know is like, you know them to where it's just like, okay, are they disciplined? Are they driven? Are they successful? Are they smart? Do I trust them with my life? Because
Yeah,
I'm essentially giving them a part of my life force for them to make this thing happen. That part. So if they don't meet the criteria, then yeah, I can see you not going into business with them because it's like, I don't want to take a loss. Love you, but you're not smart enough to handle my money like that. You know what I mean?
right.
So that's different. They can still be your friend, but I mean, even if you are on a certain level, you guys won't be friends for very long. You know what I mean? Because it's that whole birds of a feather
Yeah,
flock together. If you are in one place in your life and then someone else is in another place in their life, and then you wouldn't really do business with them, y'all won't be friends for that much longer, to be perfectly honest, if we're going to be grown-ups about it.
yeah. The thing about it too, like so me and my family, I'm gonna stick to family. I'm not gonna say nothing specific because I don't know who's gonna watch it. And I don't
Too
want to
late.
fuck up my
They're
family.
like,
You know
he's
what I'm
talking
saying?
about us.
Yeah, I don't want to get the text
Going right
message
now.
tomorrow,
Dad, look at that
Monday.
motherfucker talking about us.
Yeah, you said what? He said this? Oh, we fighting. No.
He
So
calling your mama right now.
yeah,
No.
right. I'm calling your mom, Frankie. So the thing is, we was having a conversation of investing
Mhm.
and into land, buying something maybe as a family to have our own. Um, and one of my cousins shared his thoughts on, hey, I don't if it's certain if to do this, I got to know who's in it because I need to make sure that the people that's gonna do it can actually pay into it.
Mhm.
I don't want people that's gonna flake out at the last minute or it sounds good and they don't have their priorities straight. And this isn't a priority. And I even give you another example. My grandparents' house that I told you about that we're dealing with. If we decide to keep it, now we all have to chip into something.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
And if people don't want to chip in, or
Well,
can't chip in, you know what I'm
don't
saying?
want to miss the
So
boat, right?
it can really affect that part. So I can see that there. Um, I don't know. I just to me, support doesn't cost anything. And what I
Sometimes it does, but then you have to count up. It's like, is this cost worth it?
well, I
Is
was
this
talking about
relationship worth
share.
it?
a post, a reshare. Like, you say you put something on your Facebook page, and I say, okay, well, I'm gonna share it.
I'll repost it.
Sure.
Yeah,
You know,
sometimes that don't cost anything.
it don't.
Sometimes there is a cost,
Yeah.
but then sometimes
So,
there's not.
let me see. Another one. My mom. I had to share hers because she's always got insight. Plus she keeps me in her will, so I got to share it. Man, business business not run under the
Got the
premise.
white out right now, like, you know
All
what,
right.
right?
One line initial. Get him out of here. No, business is not business is not run under the premises of a charity, but not neither less to say that great business can be charitable. To my opinion, if I'm approaching a friend regarding a business or an opportunity that can benefit them, I would do it the same way I would tell a stranger. I'm not here to make a friendship or reassure a present friendship with what I am proposing. I just want to share something that can be beneficial. It is up to the stranger or friend to make the ultimate decision. Of course, no, if I am in a business with the potential results, I want my friends and family to know about it and decide if it's good for them. To maintain a good friendship takes time, but friendships that are based in love, respect, and understanding are here to stay. And I think that's like the gist of what
That's
we're
it
saying.
right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's it right there.
So,
She hit the nail on the head. Love your mama. She's
yeah.
right. Because friendships that are rooted and based in the right things that are solid, like what really can break that friendship up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what
I
would
mean,
do that?
it's
Because
just
there's already the clear communication, there's always the proper expectation set, proper boundaries, all
mhm.
of that, you know?
It would have to be something so drastic, something so
Like literally a heartbreaking betrayal type shady ass situation.
correct.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of like where a lot of friendships were broken. But I do feel like when we're talking about this, people not supporting their friends' businesses like right off the bat, it's not I still feel like it's kind of like the cop out to where it's like they don't want to do it because they don't want to potentially ruin the friendship. Then you need to evaluate how strong is your friendship if one little thing could cause it all to crumble.
Correct. Which goes back to what we said at the beginning of all this is, were we really friends in the first place, right?
Yeah,
Somebody said no emotional ties. One person said depends on the friends you keep. I think
true.
that's true. My wife's aunt said because people don't want to see their friends prosper. They're like crabs in the barrel. Sad but true, nephew. I
True.
think that could be some of it, which goes back to
Okay.
what my friend Brandon said, you know, they see that you're moving, but they're not, they're stagnant. So they
Yeah.
want to do it, or support. My other friend said a lot of friends want deep discounts and don't always hold up their end of the deal. So, that's another one. I haven't really read this one. Not because I don't want to. I would be skimming. So sometimes I'm doing a bunch of other stuff and it's kind of lengthy, but he said he's in business with us as well. He said embarking on the exhilarating journey of entrepreneurship often means showcasing a new facet of yourself to the world, one that your friends accustomed to the employee version of you might not immediately recognize or understand. It's not uncommon for them to harbor the misconception that setbacks are insurmountable, permanently defining the trajectory of your new venture. Moreover, many of us have been ingrained with the well-intentioned cautionary principle never blend business with personal relations. It is a protective cliche that despite its wisdom, can create barriers where support is most needed. Amidst this backdrop, it's also critical to acknowledge the pervasive what's in it for me mindset. This outlook can eclipse the broader vision of your business's contribution to the market. So friends may inadvertently view their support through a transactional lens, perceiving it as one-way street that only benefits you, the entrepreneur. Nonetheless, through this revealing process, I've gleaned a profound insight. The true essence of support is recognized and valuing the innovation and benefit that your enterprise is poised to deliver beyond the immediate circle of its inception. It's about misunderstanding that the success of a business enriches the community as a whole, and that by nurturing it, we're cultivating a garden of collective prosperity. This, I've come to realize, is the nuanced, tapestry of starting a new business among friends, a tapestry woven with threads of patience, persistence, and the hope that those around us will see the vibrant picture we are striving to create.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a dissertation.
Yeah, that was good.
That was really good. I was almost too tipsy to take all that in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And reading that, I'm glad I can read and I have education because some of these words pervasive and
Very well written. Yeah, but that also goes back to what we were saying at the beginning in terms of like friends not seeing you as the entrepreneur. They see you as, you know, Frankie I went to high school with, or Maryanne I used to work at JCPenney with, or whatever, that kind of thing. So just back in the day, as opposed to who you have grown and evolved to be now. But again, that kind of goes back to how close and how deep is your friendship, how strong is that connection. um and yeah, I understand it.
I,
It's
you know,
just,
some of these are repetitive, um, some shared the experience. Somebody said, and I feel like when you don't know a person, they have your best interest in mind. I switched my realtor from a person I don't know to a person I know, and it was the worst experience ever buying my condo. She was just trying to get her commission. So I told you about when we bought this house. My
mhm,
wife found a
yeah.
realtor from New York. We was in New York, and she found it out here, and she wanted to support a black-owned real estate firm.
Were they friends?
No, they were not friends at all. And
Okay, so this deviates a little bit from our topic, but
yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay.
it does a little bit, but I'm gonna go back to because that one's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel in that situation we could relate it to us, and the reason is because we do deal with some kind of finance. We might not handle the money, but we do advise people on
Yeah,
what.
we
To do.
don't.
Yeah, we advise people on what they should do. And what's crazy is to put a pause on that comment completely. It's like we're not even telling you, yo, go buy this stock. We're not even securities licensed. We don't do that. What we do is so simple that we educate you on what we consider is three things you should know about how your money should be working for you.
Right.
Not even telling you that it's the end all be all answer to be your successes.
No, because because it's really not. We have an avenue, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's, I think, where people get the whole thing. So, here is me getting ready to get on my soapbox. So, this is where people get it all fucked up, right? To where it's like, just because one set of people or one group of people is talking about a particular avenue that can help you save and make money, right? That can help you, protect your life, create generational wealth, and X, Y, and Z, all of these good things. That does not mean that has to be the end all be all what you do with your money. There are several ways that you can invest your money, and it is recommended that you have more than one bucket of, savings for your retirement, for your financial goals and things like that. There's great books out there that talks about having multiple saving buckets, okay? We are in one lane, multiple lanes, right? Think 6-lane highway. We're in one lane. There's somebody else on the other side in another lane, and somebody on this side in another lane. All these lanes could be valid because we're all trying to get to the same place. Don't shit on what we're doing because somebody over there said, well, I should do it this way. Yeah, you probably should if you're savvy at that, but that doesn't make what we're doing wrong.
Mhm.
It just might not be the right fit, or you don't have the right understanding.
So
Doesn't make it wrong.
correct, and I agree 100%. And again, this quote when I put this statement up, I didn't refer it only to our business, even though my frustration is some of that. But again, like I said, it's not just with this. Even the podcast, you know what I'm saying? You advertise it. What does it cost the person to hit the download button? 9 times out of 10, especially when I
It's
do
time.
listening, it's
5 seconds.
yeah, it's about 30 minutes to an hour. If like this one's probably gonna be more than 30 minutes. Okay. My football one is a little longer, so I don't expect you just to put it on play while you for an hour and a half, 2 hours while you walk around the house. But at the
Mhm.
same time, we'll sit there and listen, and I'm guilty of it. I watch Drink Champs, a 3-hour episode, just to hear stories
Oh,
about the 90s, about rappers in the 90s. It's crazy. What I lived by watching, listening to it on the radio, reading the magazines. Now the rappers out there talking, and I watch it. So, and But if I do that, that means I could support you and your podcast when you put it out and at least download it, right? Going to his
Right.
situation, you and I have talked about this. When we support black and brown owned businesses, sometimes they fall short of the mark because either unprofessional, lack of quality, late with the production, whatever
Or
it
who
is.
just don't want to take your money.
Correct. And you and
Because
then
I
to have
remember living in Charlotte and literally trying to support Black owned businesses, right? Because I like getting my nails and stuff done, getting my hair done, and literally could not give any money away.
yeah. I could see where he's coming from. And the reason I brought up the realtor, right? Because I remember telling my wife, hey, the lady that works at the cleaners just got licensed up here. She says she has some realtors that she knows in Virginia. She could help us out. No, no, babe. I found somebody. She's black. We're going to, black owned. We're going to go there. This and a third. Okay. Well, what happened? The lady didn't show the houses that we wanted. My wife told her a price range. And because that price range was what it was, she didn't want to show us nothing else. When we got our floors redone, in the house, the guy told me that the reason our hallway didn't sink into the subfloor was because it was ceramic tile, and that ceramic tile was holding the floor together. Because when
Oh,
they ripped it up, the wood was already deteriorating. I had parts in my living room where you stepped in it, it would
mhm.
sink because the
Same.
wood was breaking off. And when he opened it and when he fixed all that for me, um,
That's good, but that shouldn't even pass the inspection.
and
Just
that's what he said. That's
yeah.
what he said. And so we went with this realtor who went with their property manager who, with their inspector, and that person signed off on it. Of course, she's probably moving a bunch of houses. And it's like now I could see where he's coming from. I went with a stranger when maybe if I would have went with a friend, I would never got that. You know what I'm saying? And like for me, if I'm in the process of thinking about refinancing the house or taking equity out, whether it's a HELOC or whatever, we spoke about it. My friend, my sister's best friend from high school, she lives in Virginia. She's a loan officer. So
Mhm.
before I go to stranger, I'm gonna go to her to give her the business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because at least I know she has my best interest. Now, if she screws that up, that's on her. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna ever not talk to you again. I might just not ever do a loan with you again. I might go to somebody else, but I don't mean that I'm gonna stop talking to you. You know?
And that's the thing though, like I really feel like a true friend is going to make it right or do their best to make sure everything is done right for you because you're their friend and they don't want to ruin the relationship. They don't want to mess you over. Like people need to evaluate people who they are in relationship with to where they're giving them the side eye that they feel like, oh, they might mess me over or I don't want to get into this because I don't want the relationship to sour because I don't trust that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. That's the thing. It's like, is there real trust there? And again, is it a real friendship?
Yeah.
So yeah, you going with your the person that that's your friend to do your refi or whatever, that's a real friend. Like I don't feel like she's gonna mess you over just for a commission. She's gonna make sure it's done right because she knows other people that would go around and cut corners and things like that. She's like, I'm not gonna do my friend like that.
It
So
and that's what I'm saying. It's to me, you know, in this business, I had two people in California do policies, right? And when I got my license for Cali, it was not even for them. It was for another person that I know. So I
mhm,
was like, oh, okay, I get my non-resident. I spent the money and he hasn't even got the policy yet. However, two other people did. One person said, Frank, listen, before I go, I didn't know that's what you was doing. I already had started talking to this company. But I'm gonna give you a chance to beat their numbers. If you beat it, I'm going with you.
mhm,
I said, okay, cool. I did. I submitted the app. She's gone through some little physical stuff. So, not to tell trans, oh, she can't sign this paper because she's in the hospital. So it's like I gotta, can't put, yeah, it's like can't put that out there. But
Yes.
yeah. So I was patient with her. But guess what? She would communicate back. She even apologized when we didn't talk like that. And says, Frank,
Uh-huh.
I got you. I'm gonna send it to you. My bad. I just been busy. Yo, it's cool. You were sick. You were back to work. I understand. That's me. And I treat my friends that way, but I treat a stranger the same way.
Same.
No, because at the end of the day, one thing I do believe in our business that you're not gonna get by going to a company is the personality, the personal approach that we give it. You know, the fact that we're gonna work with you, that we're gonna take our time with you. When you call these other places, we, you know, I don't even harass people no more. And you told me, Frank, stop following up. You already followed twice, leave it alone. Because it's like, you know, you want to close it. I'm the type of person that I like to know where we stand. I don't like the up in the air, you know. Oh, are you doing this? Yes or no? No?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now we can still be,
Ooh.
just understand that where I'm trying to get to, if I don't hit you up like that, it's not because you said no, it's because I am trying to reach a certain level of success and I'm trying to get there. So I'm
Yeah.
prioritizing what
Right. I'm talking to those people I don't know
yeah,
because the people I do know said no. So I got to move
you know?
along.
So but somebody else said a friend who's running a business will always put you second because they're banking on your friendship. A stranger will jump on opportunity. I don't know.
Who are these people? I'm just like, I don't get that. I
I
don't, I don't,
I
I
don't
don't,
I really honestly I think that if my friend said, Frank, I want a policy, I want to roll over my 401k into index annuity.
they would have my undivided
Yeah,
attention and
I'm jumping on it.
done with until the signature is
Listen,
dry.
you
Serious, and
know
it's an electronic signature, so you know how fast. But
exactly.
I'm just saying, like, it has my undivided attention, beginning to end. You will hear from me all the time because I did a policy for somebody that is close to me, and I literally did nothing else until that policy was clear. And
Mhm.
it didn't take long. It took like 2 weeks. So did nothing else until that policy was clear. Communicated, stayed on top of it, contacted them whenever needed to, even though didn't really need anything. It
Yeah,
was like the easiest one that I had done, I think, to date. And like I said, like that was somebody who was really close to me. I wasn't going to just bullshit around and just let it sit in the queue or take their money and not communicate with them. That's ridiculous. No, why would I treat them that way and treat a stranger better?
correct, correct. And that's another
Their
thing.
money is just as good as somebody I don't know. It actually it's better because they trusted me as their friend, as somebody as close to them to do it for them. I'm handling it with kitty gloves, like you are my
All
precious, like from Lord of the Rings. You are my precious. I am keeping you close to me. I am handling it better than anybody else.
somebody else wrote business with friends and family in my experience always end badly. So for that reason, I choose not to do business with them. So if I get messed over, I can handle the situation. However, I see fit and no emotional attachment. I seriously don't play about my money. Um, okay, you can see that different ways, you know.
But again, like who are your friends? Who are your family?
Yeah, like I don't. So for me, and the frustration for me, right? It's not even that so much. When it comes to like friends and family, because you know who you are, you know who you got around you. You know what I'm saying? You know. I think for me is the support. I think for me it's more of the our business is built. The model, the plan is to hit your hot market. Your hot market would be your friends and family.
That's what they tell us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. And in a perfect world, that'd be great.
Hmm.
But you and I have seen people in certain communities excel in this business because they have the support of their friends and family.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, I'm not gonna lie. For me, when I first started, and even though they said hit your friends and your family first, I'm like, because to be honest, I wanted to make sure I was sure because I wasn't sure at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like when you start anything new, you want to make sure it's like, okay, is all this gonna like really pan
yeah,
out? Is this as true as they say it is? Because I don't know. I'm just going off of what somebody is telling me. I want to make sure this is right. So would I get a policy? Yes, I would. Would I insure my son? Totally did. Like, did all of these things first and then watched it for a considerable amount of time to make sure it does what we say it does. And it does, which is great. It's all about saving money and making money while you're saving, which is a great thing. And so for me, I'm like, I need to make sure that this is going to do what it does before I take it to the people closest to me. I'll experiment on people I don't know. Why? Because I don't know them.
mhm,
I don't know them like that. I don't have to see them every day. I don't have to bear the weight of, their disappointment, if there's any disappointment. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But if there's not, then it's like, okay, now this is panned out. Now I have full confidence and belief in it. Now I'm bringing it to my friends and family because I do believe that this is something that they could use. And if they don't need it, fine. You don't have to need, if you don't need it, you already got something like it or something better. Absolutely cool. But like we were saying at the beginning, it's more or less, can you hear me out? And then sometimes with us, we get like shut off at the door. Whereas with other communities, they'll be like, oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. We'll absolutely hear you out because you're our friend. We love you. Or you're our family. We love you.
Hmm.
So,
Like one of our partners in Hawaii, when her and I got to talking one time at one of the conventions, she said, "Listen, it's simple. If you didn't join me in business, you got a policy. If you join me in business, you're getting a policy. Either way it goes, you're going to help me out, and it's either
mhm,
going to be getting a policy, getting a product, I should say, or joining me in business and getting a product, or you're going to point me in the direction for somebody that's going to get it." And I think that's support. Again, you don't have to get it if you have insurance or you have a policy already. I have a friend of mine that said, Frank, I'm paying $400 or $500 a month, and I have whole life policies for me and my kids and my wife.
mhm,
I said, when did you get these policies? He said, a while back. And I said, okay, cool. I didn't try to talk him out of it, even though I think an IU will be better than whole life. But guess what? If he's paying 400 a month
mhm.
and he's got a certain product that he's satisfied with, and I'm trying to tell him he needs to get one of ours, and it's going to cost him probably 400 just for his policy at this age now, why would I tell him to do that?
Right.
You know, if based on the premise of some of these conversations, then I would have put my commission up first and try to sell him a bag just to get the money.
Mhm.
I didn't even, once he told me what he had, I said, as long as you have protection, brother, I don't, you're good. Me, I rolled over my 401k. My kids got a policy. My wife, we're gonna do a policy for her. You know, I don't have one because I don't qualify for one. That's just not, but that's not my fault. If I could, I would have did it, you know.
Right.
I just don't understand sometimes um why in our communities it's a problem. That's what it comes down to, right? Um,
Yeah, and then disclaimer, I won't say like this has happened to me personally. This is an overview and an observation. Okay. So, because for me, I'm a little bit shyer, so I'm a little bit slower to actually spreading the awareness out. So, just full disclosure, like I haven't really like personally wholeheartedly experienced it, because like I said, I hadn't really gone that hard to like my close,
mhm,
but I just really kind of like generated income and generated like business with, people that's kind of like I know, like friends and coworkers, colleagues, people I run into, things like that. So, but just as an overall observation, looking at, just the general support within our community, Black and Puerto Rican, Latino, whatever. Well, I can't even say Latino. I would say Black and Puerto Rican because, on the other side, Latino, Mexican, Guatemalan, whatever from other parts of the country, they have massive support and they may not even fully understand it. Okay. We're talking about like on the Asian side as well. And these are facts, people. I am not like in our business, these are facts that I'm speaking. On the Asian side, we're talking Indian, we're talking, I guess Chinese, I'm not exactly
oh,
sure, but Asian side,
yeah,
massive support, and it's almost support without question.
yeah,
That support. Now, I'm not saying that our community should do blind support. However, I just kind of get sad sometimes when I see other communities come together so strongly and then support each other. And it's just like we have so many barriers and so many hurdles to jump through to have that within our own community. And it's not just in this business, it's also in other things that I've seen. It's just, and it makes me wonder, it's like, why don't we trust each other?
I
And to be fair, there are people that have done some really crappy things and taken advantage and don't have good business practices, don't treat people right. You see it all the time on social media and TikTok, especially, with um now these influencers slash turn stylists, not even real like cosmetologists or whatever. They just slapping a wig on and doing big ass fluffy edges that touch your eyebrows. They're taking people's deposits and not giving good service. Like it's just a mess. So yeah, I mean, on the flip side, we need to do better in that regard in terms of like treating our own people better. And so yeah, I
you
guess
said
I
it
get
better
it.
social media. Let me tell you, I sat with one of my sailors one time, And I did the 3 rules of money. I showed him an illustration. I said, man, he's like, nah, I kind of like have my money in cash. I don't like tying it up because if I want to get to it, I want to get to it. I'm like, okay, well, understand that your money's not growing, you know,
Right.
and that's your prerogative. That's fine. Um,
Right.
but he fast forward a year later or so, he sees me. He goes, man, senior, I got to talk to you. I said, what's up? He's like, yo, we got to get together sometime because I was on TikTok and I seen somebody talking about what you was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, so motherfucker, it took for you to see a stranger on TikTok or IG or Facebook tell you something that I already told you a year and a half ago.
I kid you not. Majority of my business partners, it happened just like that. Not from TikTok, but they heard it from me first, heard me talking about it, and then they would go somewhere, or they would hear it on social media, or they was like, you know what, I've been trying to figure this thing out for years and nobody's been able to explain it. Can you explain it? That kind of thing. So it's like they know, but they don't know. And so I think it's the biggest compliment when they come back to you and they're like, I remember you were talking about this and I heard it from somewhere else. Can you tell me about it? So then it's like, okay, so then there is trust there. There is, they do feel a sense of safety because, like, why did they come back to me when they could have contacted the person they saw on social media or contacted somebody else? So, yeah, I mean, thanks, social media. You helped my business because
And
that was, I wasn't advertising there, somebody else did, but they remembered me talking about it and came back to me. So I take it as a compliment that they might not have got it the first time or when I was initially talking about it, but then, seeing it in other places and hearing it again does kind of bring validity. Because let's be honest, Frank, like, when you first heard, as far as like the business that we're in and what we do and some of the products that we offer, did you believe it the first time you heard it?
yeah, I wanted to buy in. I did.
You did. I did too.
I
But
was
I
so
didn't believe it. I didn't care if it was legal or not. It
yeah.
sounded legal to me, but at that point I didn't really care. And I'm like, this sounds too good to be true, but I'm like, I'm gonna see where this goes.
What did it for me, and I didn't even join the business with the person who introduced me to the business. That's the
Mhm,
great thing about it. She just showed me, I was one of her training calls. And when she showed me this, and she showed me an illustration, and I said, wait a minute, you're telling me that if I was doing this since I started my TSP back in 2004,
mhm.
now I could have $500,000 in an account. She was
Yes.
like, yeah.
Yes.
So I instantly said, oh, I'm stopping my TSP.
Mhm,
And I did because my intention was I'm gonna submit an app and I'm gonna take the same 600 I'm putting into my TSP. Excuse me, I'm gonna put it into an IUL, which
you
at the
will.
time, 600 would have got me a $500,000 policy.
Right.
I joined. That's why I joined the business. I joined the business because I felt that the information that was shared with me is information that I feel people should hear, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I also know that for me, in my opinion, for somebody who served 26 years in the Navy, we are very blind to certain things, and unless we educate ourselves, we step
Mhm.
out of that box that the Navy or the military puts us in. We don't see nothing different, and we stay stuck to what we know. Kind of even like who we do business with. If
Yeah,
it's
I think that's just kind of like a lot of people, not even just the military, but the corporate sector too, because I remember being on a field training call with one of my teammates and talking with their client, and they were just like, okay, well, I mean, if this was so good, then how come we're just now hearing about it? Like, I already have a 401k and that seems to be doing fine. Like, a lot of people have 401ks. How come other people aren't doing this, or how come this isn't talked about as much? So just coming from a place to where it's just like, I mean, this is just a fad or this is just a new thing, but they didn't really know or do any kind of research on their own to understand the history of an IUL, which has been around for a lot longer than people realize. So it's not a fad, it's not a trend. It's been around for a long time. It has gone through several evolutions, kind of like the iPhone,
Mhm.
right? But that does not discredit the validity of what it is. It's
so they
still,
97 Transamerica introduced the IUL.
yeah. So about around the time of the iPhone.
So time I joined the Navy, You know what I'm saying? It came out. But I also feel like people are missing the bigger picture too. You get pushed onto you what people want you to know.
Mhm.
They're not going to share with you what they don't want you to know.
They don't want you to know. Exactly.
And not only that, we do it to ourselves because, as we've talked about it, when you say life insurance, the minute people think it's death. Well, I'm not dying no time soon, so I don't need it.
The superstition in our community is wild.
Right.
It's wild because you know it's coming, you know it's going to happen, right? Only thing we don't know is when,
Correct.
right? And so talking about things to kind of like safeguard and put in place to help your family that will have to grieve your loss, right? Is just like one of those things to where it just sends them in a frenzy. So where it's like, don't talk about it, or we can't do this, we can't put these things in place, we can't talk about life insurance because that means that somebody is going to die, or
Well,
it's going to bring death quicker, just ridiculous
I have to
things.
die for somebody to be able to get the money, not realizing there's a cash value in it, or like in my family, they bought their plots already and the plots are paid off.
Mhm.
You'll do that at age 18, let's say. But when you say, hey, get life insurance, no, whoa, slow.
Yeah, that's where we draw the line.
That's a bit. I can't pay that. I feel like people are not, this is why I like what we do. It's education. One thing that I tell people all the time, um, when they're trying to come in onto business, and it's part of our presentation, it says we don't beg you to join and we don't beg you to buy something. We're just
Right,
educating you. You take it if you want. If you don't, that's fine. That's on you.
right. I tell my team all the time, we're not in the business of begging.
Yeah,
We
and
don't
I don't
want
want you
to
to beg.
belong.
You know, I just like to close. I like to get to a definitive answer, either a disposition on a call or close. And for those people that don't know what I mean, a disposition is how are you interested or you're not interested. And if
Mhm.
you're not interested, why you're not interested. So I know whether or not to follow back up with you or just
Right.
leave you the hell alone. If you are interested, now let's close the deal and go move forward. Um,
Mhm.
and to be very clear, again, we don't handle anybody's money. It's not like you're
Right.
giving me the money monthly and I am going to invest it into something. No. Once we submit the application, for all intents and purposes, once the ad's submitted, approved, and your premiums paid, you have access to your own account. You no longer
Yes, we're literally like real estate agents, to be honest with you.
yeah. We get done.
Our real estate is the policy. We
Yeah,
are the go-between person between you buying your policy, the house, and then paying for said policy, the mortgage company.
right.
We just do all the paperwork for you. And then once it's done, your business is between the mortgage company and the person that holds your policy,
That's
right? The title to your home
I might
and
check in every once in a
you. That's
while,
it.
make sure you're doing great. Hey, maybe see if you want to get another one.
That's right.
That's it. Or help.
Make sure everything is good because we can still contact said mortgage company,
Yeah, I don't.
insurance policy holder, and then make sure everything is good. You
So
need to lower your payment, cool, we can help you with that. You want to add more, sure, we can help you with that too, because we're licensed and we've got more pull, we've got more access than you would just calling in as a client or as a customer.
no, correct. And that's the thing. So to kind of like not because I don't want to go into the business side of the house. I think
Yeah.
that's a whole nother podcast.
That's
So what?
I said too late, we kind of did that.
Yeah, we didn't really get into it.
No.
Because
We
I
can
feel
come back and show illustrations one day.
yeah. I think we can get into. I mean, as far as the business, I'm talking about like joining us in business, right? Um,
Okay.
I'm being agents or starting your own agency for that matter. I'm talking about just keeping it to the products, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're really talking about. Because I can see why somebody would be a little cautious of starting a business and something they either never did, had no idea,
True.
or
Yeah.
like, hey, do I really want to take a chance in this? But to me, and like we've talked about, I think the most thing is the support part. Again, I don't need you to get a policy. That's not. I just want you to hear the education, get the information, and then you make a decision on it. And if it's not for you, cool. I'm still going to mess with you because it might not be for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
It
might
might
not
not be for you, but then what if it is? Then,
exactly.
please
Oh,
just know that. And then, like at the end of the day, I would say first of all, know who you're doing business with, right? Like if you know somebody's a fuck up, then absolutely, I won't co-sign that. Don't do it just because they're your friend.
Right.
And then you should evaluate the friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two, yeah, but if it is somebody that you know, love, and trust, and then know they wouldn't mess you over, why wouldn't you give them a shot? At least, like to your point, hear them out. If it's for you, cool. If it's not, you're still going to be friends. Like that's not the basis of your friendship, whether you buy into it or not.
It's
Because like
not
nobody's
based
going to
on
do it
helping
if you
you
don't
out.
need
It's
it.
really based on I fuck with you or I don't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that goes back to the original thing we talked about with support. At the end of the day, it's all about support. And
Yeah. 'Cause if
no,
you don't need it, then maybe you know somebody that does.
correct.
Like a referral does wonders. Like just send
So
somebody my way.
when I first did recruiting, I was passing out business cards in the corner. Hey, here you go, take one, take one, take one. Guy in a wheelchair, right? Yeah, it's pretty much. I was throwing it at people. So a guy in a wheelchair says, "Why you never offer me a business card?"
Uh,
And I said, "Because you don't qualify. You're not medically qualified. You're in a wheelchair. So why would I give you a business card?"
but
And
it
he
qualifies
looks
for
at me, he
coverage.
says, "Because you don't know if I have a nephew, a cousin, a son, a brother, or somebody that I know could benefit, but you never bother to talk to me."
Oop.
He taught me something at
Mm,
that moment in time. I was young. I was brand new to recruiting. I'm going based on what the what we're looking for, the market, that we're in, and I didn't bother to waste my time on because you had people telling you, "Don't waste your time on people that don't qualify." Never saying, "Hey,
you don't know who they know.
create a center of influence, create somebody that can speak for you, give them swag and they'll work for you. They'll tell somebody, if you think about joining the military, go see these people here in Melrose, right? So when he told me that, it taught me something, which kind of goes back to like in our business. At the end of the day, you talk to everybody, you give the people the information. The ones
Mhm.
that are going to stick, they're going to stick, and the ones that are not are going to not. They're going to
Right.
fall off, but they might know somebody. I think, like I said, for us, our hot market is our close friends and family. And
Mhm.
we know our friends and we know our families. So when you see people, and I guess to me, what goes further is, and this could be another topic for another day because I don't want to kind of do too much in one day, but
Mhm.
is how do we sit here and scream um generational wealth, changing generational curses, being different than the past, creating a better future, becoming our own banks, um, not saving money, creating wealth. And then when people are literally telling you ways that other people have done it, you run from it
Yeah.
because it wasn't how you was taught to do it. Um,
Yeah. And for me, I would just love for this kind of like whole like dark cloud or this stigma to be kind of like eliminated from our communities because then it would make it easier on said friend entrepreneur that is trying to do people right, that knows how, people have been messed over, within the community and want to reach out, but it's just like, I know I probably won't get that support. So I'm not going to say anything because I can't deal with the rejection.
mhm.
She was different.
So
You know what I mean?
in a book that we share with our clients and we tell people to read, and we read as agents of Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. In chapter 2, it says banks, corporations, and billions of dollars. While many wealthy individuals maximize the use of cash value life insurance, there is one specific group that shows true understanding of its value. This is the same sector that controls nearly every aspect of our economy: banks. Most of us can't really imagine the importance of the role that cash value life insurance play in financial institutions, corporations, and banks. These organizations buy life insurance by the billions and use it for many different purposes. Not only does it increase their financial stability and reduce their taxes, it's also an ideal way to fund employee pensions, healthcare costs, and other benefits. It's so common among banks and corporations that it even has its own name: bank owned life insurances, BOLI, and
Oh,
corporate owned life insurances, COLI. The FDIC makes available the balance sheets of nearly every major bank. The following figures are taken directly from the FDIC.gov. So for you guys that don't believe us, you can go research it.
yep.
FDIC.gov, Foxtrot Delta India Charlie.gov, and represent the exact amount of money each bank holds in their life insurance at the time of this book's publishing. So for banks, Bank of America was 19.6 billion, Wells Fargo was 17.7 billion, JP Morgan Chase was 10.3 billion and US Banks is 4.5 billion.
Mhm. And
So
bank on life insurance
yes,
invested. Just
invested.
make that clear for the people.
So for us that question why we don't know about it, or why, if it's so great, why not everybody's doing it? Well, if the same banks you're putting your money in, they're doing
They're
it.
doing it.
So
There's a lot of people doing it. They just don't know.
correct.
And that's the problem. It's because there's a documentary that is like one of my favorite. It's not, well, is it a documentary? It's kind of like one of those dramatized documentaries or whatever. And it is called The Men Who Built America. And it is the best thing I have seen. Like I talk about it all the time. But people, go watch that thing. It is amazing. And read this book, Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. Okay. So it'll teach you a lot of things about the economy, about the history of, money and finance and, America, how it came to be. And then, like I said, the documentary is called The Men Who Built America. So it talks about JP Morgan Chase. It talks about the Rockefellers. It talks about Andrew Carnegie. Talks about Vanderbilt, and it also talks about Ford.
Hmm.
All these people that put these certain things in place and built these certain empires, industrial empires, right? To where they had made so much money, they had to bail out the country.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
It,
I mean, just it is amazing. Go watch it because it is very, very eye-opening. And also, I love history. And there is a saying that says, if you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So that will kind of give like it's giving a mirror image as to kind of like what's going on now.
mm-hmm.
And so again, I do recommend people go and watch it. But in terms of like I don't know, really know what point I was trying to make with that, but I just love history. So what people don't know is because they don't do the research. We get distracted by petty little things and whatnot when we should be understanding history and then see where we're going, as a country, as a people in the future, right? We need to start doing more research. We need to start understanding how things work. How are these banks doing it? How are these millionaires, billionaires, making so much money and paying zero or very, very little in taxes, right? Donald Trump famously said a couple of years ago, as far as like, when they were trying to bust him, as far as like not paying taxes when he was running for president, he was like, I use the same laws that y'all do.
Yeah.
He had gagged, and that was the only thing I really loved about that because I'm like, he's right. The
Yeah.
laws are there. I mean, he's not doing anything quote unquote wrong, like it's morally wrong in my opinion, but I mean, it's a law. What are you going to do about it? You either get in the game, right, or you continue to keep taking losses. We have chosen to get in the game.
Yeah.
All a game, really. Money, this whole money thing is a game. Like you
So
play by the rules, but in order to play by the rules, you got to know what the rules are, and that's what the laws will allow. You've got to know what they are.
there's more
So
there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you just gotta know how which each way can work. So I am now, I think this went very well. And now I'm just gonna tap in with you. We're gonna do another episode, not today.
no, because how long have we go? How long have we been going?
Yeah,
This
hour
is
and
great.
5
You're
minutes.
right.
And I think it's great. I think we hit the point. And I want to wrap up because I want to save what we're getting into another whole episode of our business, what it does for people, how it works. Not necessarily recruiting people into being agents, but maybe since you don't want to give us the time of day to sit down on a 10-minute call, you could listen to an hour podcast of us talking about how it works. Maybe
Yes.
reading some more excerpts, some more parts of the book. You talking more about what the research you've done. Maybe even bring other teammates on to discuss it or how it works for them. Johnny, um, our trainer, business partner, mentor, he has several policies and it works fine for him. And maybe because people want to see things to believe it. So I kind of want to save that for a whole nother time so we can dedicate that time to
Yes.
it. Um,
Yeah.
before I close out, is there anything you want to add as far as the whole support and doing business with friends and stuff like that?
Yeah. I would say, to give your friends a chance, especially if they're not knuckleheads, right? If they're not going to mess you over, if they're good people, give your friends a chance. At least listen to them, hear them out, and then just know that they're just as burdened with, the thought of not wanting to mess you over as you are with having the fear of not wanting to be messed over. So, hear your friends out, hear your family out, and yeah, just try to, let's all do better with supporting each other and supporting, our community, right? And stop screwing people over. And if you're a knucklehead, then just get out of the business altogether. Go do something else.
Mhm. I'm gonna tag Maryanne on Facebook with this so you can follow her. So for my friends that don't want to do business with me and give me the time of day, give her the time of day, and vice versa. For those people that know her, you're like, oh, it's not good to mix friends and business together. Then I'm not your friend. You can hit me up and we can discuss it, and you're gonna get the same information because we get taught to repeat it. Um, the point of this conversation was to start the conversation on something that we discussed. That in order to progress as a society in our cultures and our communities, we got to work together. We can't sit back and look at other people do it and wonder why they're made successful. People want to say, "Oh, the Jews do it." Well, yeah, look what they do. They have their communities, they have their own rules. They pay extra money into certain things, and guess what? They work together. Why do the Mexicans do it, or Middle Eastern people do it, or Indian or Asian? Why do they do it? They understand the concept that if we work together, we sacrifice now, but we can all build. And when we build, it's going to be great.
Mhm.
And that's what we need to shift our mindset, to quote Johnny, shift the mindset
Yes.
into supporting each other. It doesn't have to mean you have to get a policy if you already have one. But hear me out. Let me give you the education. And then maybe, just maybe, there's somebody else out there you're going to run across and say, hey, you know what? Frank was talking about this. Let me, let me reach out.
Yeah,
Or
let me pass those info around or
yeah,
along.
exactly.
Sorry.
Or hey, Maryanne was talking about with Frank, and guess what? Her approach is better than his. So you know what? I'm hit her up. Whatever you do is just to get the education and get the information and better yourself in the process. Due to this conversation, is we're going to do another episode maybe this week
Yeah.
in regards to what our business and products do, and it's probably going to be another episode following up behind that. And as far as this can take us, because I think it was a good vibe. I think it went well, and I enjoyed it. So Maryanne will be tagged on this. Do you have your IG you want to share with people?
I do. It's Maryanne Owen 28 on IG.
You got TikTok too, right?
I do have a TikTok, so I just changed it today. So it's, oh goodness, The Good Life with Maryanne
Good life,
on
Maryanne.
TikTok.
Do you have X or no? Okay. Well, I'm on
Not today.
okay. So Francisco for is my Facebook. My social media for IG for this was really under construction, so I'm not gonna put it out. But you can hit me on Facebook. I will respond back. My TikTok, I don't even know what it is. I gotta look it up. So I'm not even gonna lie to you right now. I'll probably just put it in the comments when I publish this. But
No,
stay
because I
tuned.
don't use X for one thing.
It's okay. I do have X. But it's called Frank's Advice, I think it is. That's
So I'm
the
professional. So
main one.
sorry.
Yeah. Um, anyway, hey, thank you for listening. I hope you get the information. Again, we're not knocking anybody for not. We're just talking about how if we want to progress as a society, as a culture, as
Yeah.
come together, we can be mad at other cultures when they do it, and we're not going to do it, right?
Yeah, I'm ready for us to come together. Let's put this trope to bed and then just be done with it. And let's move past this. Let's figure out a way to move past this because we can't continue to let this be our story as
Yep.
a culture. We can't.
That being
We just
said,
can't because we're being left behind.
correct. With that being said, and nothing more to say, thank you for listening to Frank's Unsolicited Advice. Stay tuned for the next episode of Maryanne. I'm gonna bring on more often. Trust me. You have a good night. Enjoy. See you next week.